In these damn bad times when the sun rises but you can't see the light. Waking up in the morning is the hardest fight. Sitting all alone through the night, scrolling through IG, trying to find your ID. What life means through somebody else, but who am I? Start to feel like I'm losing myself. That's the point when I turn to God and ask for help. We all need some guidance, sometimes they don't understand. We're put here for a purpose, you know that He's got a plan. Through trials and tribulations, everything will be alright. Keep working on yourself until the day you find the light. Now let your light shine. You gon' be okay just when the time's right. Go do what you love, get off the sideline. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This world is all mine. Now let your light shine. To reach out ain't weakness. We all need a hand when we're swimming in the deep end, trying to find a way in the light, but what's the meaning? I meditate and close my eyes and that's when I'm believing. Words on the screen can be deceiving, especially when everything is hatred that you're seeing. But you can be great today. Strength is in the mind, let's be brave today. This is your world, don't let them take it. We hide behind the screen, but now it's time we face to face it. Gotta check in on the ones you always love. We don't need the answers now, Hashem is watching from above. Now let your light shine. You gon' be okay just when the time's right. Go do what you love, get off the sideline. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This world is all mine. Now let your light shine. Now let your light shine. You gon' be okay just when the time's right. Go do what you love, get off the sideline. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This world is all mine. Now let your light shine.
20 years ago, Chani and I moved to Toronto, and our shlichus, which is the way we refer to it as shlichus, was to engage the youth of our community in their Jewish identity through whatever means we can, through sport, through recreation, through education, volunteerism, etc., etc. And Baruch Hashem, we've been blessed. And here we are celebrating the 14th Gala of JYN. And really, we are so excited that this year we have the schus, we have the merit and the blessing to be able to find new shluchim to join the JYN team.
The first time I came to JYN was on Purim, and I just saw this place, and I was like, this is such an incredible place for Jewish teens to be. And it was a moment that I realized this is what I want to be spending my life doing, impacting the Jewish community, especially with the energy and the power of teens and youth, which there's nothing like it in the world.
Growing up, it was always a passion of mine to share the love and excitement of Judaism. And when I met my husband, Benjamin, he shared the same passion as mine. And we were excited to work with the youth and teens and just share the love, share the excitement, and share the beauty of Judaism and what it has to offer.
What's exciting about the Warmflashes coming here on Shlichus is, first off, is their level of dedication and enthusiasm and passion for what they're doing. This is not a job. This is a life's mission.
When I was in 5th grade, I had a teacher. He came from Israel to teach the Jewish kids where I was growing up in Connecticut. And he made a real impact in my life. It wasn't really what he was teaching, but it was how he was teaching. He taught us that each one of us matter, that each one of us can make a difference. And you know, I was just a 10-year-old kid, like every other kid. I was into music, movies, sports, and I wasn't so interested in Judaism. When I was in his class, I realized that Judaism is something so special and full of life. Judaism is about who you are. And the more that you know who you are, the more exciting it becomes to be able to be you. Actually, I decided that I was going to start walking down to the shul on Shabbat. It was an hour-and-a-half walk. And that's why I chose to come here to work at JYN, because that's what JYN's whole mission is about.
Time to rap filling, time to say L'chaim. Everybody chime in, time to start rhyming.
The Warmflashes joining our team is not to take over our programs, but to start new ones of their own and double the impact and double the output and double the engagement. Whatever we've been doing up until now, we're just mirroring it now with new opportunities and new styles and new types of engagements. And that's exactly what they've been doing literally in the last 3 months.
Right away when we came, we hit the ground running and we started meeting people at Westmount, at Chad, at Stephen Lewis.
How you doing? Thank God, doing good. Here's some Shabbat candles for you. It's a gift.
You pull up to our school, kosher pickles rolling in. Students are running out to come and grab some lunch, running to put on the tefillin, to do a mitzvah, to grab some Shabbos candles.
Teens love it. There's so much excitement, doing a mitzvah, sharing some thoughts. It's just been amazing.
The smiles and the energy and the warmth, people's faces just light up.
They're just so happy. And I think the more we come, the more excitement there is. It's just been getting better and better. It's sharing with them something so real, something so important. If I have something that I love, then I want to share it with you. It's amazing to see people light up and to really get that spark alive, and it's theirs to run with. We always say, like, Benjamin and I, it's crazy that we moved here and we're like, wow, knowing that every day you wake up and you are where you're meant to be and you're doing your mission in this world is a crazy feeling.
Is up, the excitement is up, the participation and energy is up, and moving along that this time next year we'll be in a new building with so many more resources and expanded facility for the community. This is just an absolutely a huge blessing. And for those who are waiting to see, hey, is this dream ever going to happen or is it just a pipe dream? It's happening. It's being built, and now's the time. Now's the time for everybody out there who's watching this, who would like to be part of this beautiful initiative that we're doing for the community, for the youth. Please call me, please call JYN, and please participate at whatever level you can. It's a community initiative. And I want to thank all those who've already participated. We are so grateful for the support we have. So I hope everybody enjoyed the packages we sent home. L'chaim to everybody, and I want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, and I want to wish everybody good health, and God willing, next year we should be dancing at the gala in the new Robbins Family Center. So we're on our way over to Rachel and Aaron's home to present the 2021 Young Leadership Awards to them, and we are very excited and very thankful to both of their leadership and what they've accomplished for JYN. Oh, just in time. Aaron, how are you? Both Rachel and Aaron are unique in the fact that they're co-presidents this past year at JYN, and they both started with JYN very early.
I've been involved, like, before it was even called JYN, it was CYN, yeah, and like, well, before I could even pronounce those words. Like, I was really young. Hebrew school, then going to JYN, starting grade 8, and then from 8 to grade 12, and now here we are.
I am so honored to receive this award. As being part of JYN for many years, I've had great leadership experience, and I've gotten involved with my Jewish community. I've been able to give back, I've been able to help out, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity.
Your input was very valuable in the building, in all the projects we did last year during COVID, with all the creative things that we had to come up with. You know, one of the things that struck me most is that some students or some participants are very loud and outspoken about everything, and your approach has always been, you hear, even if it's in a class, you digest, you break it down, and then when it's your turn, you threw out your full analysis of what the situation should be or shouldn't be. Jewish Youth Network is proud to present the 2021 JYN Young Leadership Award to Rachel Dusang, to Aaron Litvak, in esteemed recognition of your exemplary leadership, activism, and dedication to the Jewish youth of Toronto. Mazel tov.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the JYN Gala. We have a spread of 18 wines tonight, depending on what package you ordered home, whether it's anything from a ticket with 2 wines all the way up to the event sponsor and platinum packages. And in the platinum package, you've got, we added in the Cantonet Brown. This is something. You may want to hold on to this for a while. This is arguably one of the top French wines out there, kosher. And all the wines are just magnificent. All the wines that we sent out, they were hand selected for a reason. They are just superb. So without any further ado, I want to turn it over to Jay Bucksbaum, Vice President of Royal Wine Corporation, based out of New Jersey. And L'chaim, Jay, thanks for joining us tonight.
So the first wine that we're looking at is Rosato Can. Now the Rosato Can is really exciting because of 2 reasons. First of all, in this day and age when everybody's concerned about touching and feeling, and you know, when you have this single serve kind of stuff, it's the first thing that people, you know, go to, whether it's at a kiddush or at a bar mitzvah or a wedding or even at home. Well, not so much at home, but you know, in public, what do you call it? And what's wonderful about it is that it does not decrease from the quality of the wine. It does not decrease from the quality of wine. In fact, for light wines such as Rosato, you know, such as Moscatos and Rosatos of that nature, it actually keeps it fresher. Age-worthy wines need to be in a bottle with a cork, but Rosato cans and Moscato cans are just fantastic the way they are. And then you have Bartonura Moscato. It's the original iconic Moscato. What's really interesting is that people don't realize that it started out to service the kosher Jewish clientele and their palate, you know, their taste profile. But we can't forget that the Bartonur Moscato is a true Moscato di Asti, which means that we could spend a lot less money and get the Moscato from a different region for a lot less per ton. But because we want the quality to be the absolute highest, it comes from the Asti, and it's made by the people from the growers themselves. Of course, we have our whole Chabad crew in there making sure that it's made just so. But it's really, and it's, by the way, it's the largest selling imported Italian Moscato in America. Hopefully we're going to reach 1 million cases this year. That's 12 million bottles. It's crazy. Shiloh privilege comes from Shiloh, which, here's a little tidbit and some historic perspective. Shiloh is the first place that our forefather Abraham, Avram Avinu, brought sacrifices. And of course, the bama at Shiloh, the sacrifices that he brought at Shiloh included wine. And guess what? For the first time in history, well, in several thousand years, they're now making wine in Shiloh again. And the Shiloh privilege is the entry-level wine for the winery. But for that winery, entry-level means like 90 points and above. And so it's really a great blend of wine. It's mavushal, so you can serve it to anyone, anywhere, for large crowds. No matter what the makeup of the crowd is, you don't have to worry about the integrity of the kashrus. Great bottle of wine coming from the Shiloh where Abraham first sacrificed his first sacrifices to God in heaven, and used wine in that process. And Rose de Tabor is the one thing I love about Tabor in general, is that they are growers first and foremost. They were growers before they were winemakers. And I remember when I was selling non-kosher wine about 100 years ago, because I'm only 118, but when I started selling wine about 100 years ago, the best Zinfandel out of California was written up in the New York Times, and I was selling it. And I asked the winemaker and the vineyard grower, I said, what's so special about your Zinfandel? And he told me there's only 3 things that matter in making great wine. The first is, of course, good grapes. What do you think the second is? Good grapes. What do you think the third is? Good grapes. Well, Tabor, to their credit, started out as wine growers, not as winemakers. And so they start out with good grapes, good grapes, good grapes. I tasted through their entire line. And when you taste through a large variety of wines for any winery, you'll find wines that are great and that are good and that are okay. Every single wine made by Tabor is really, really, really good, if not great, all perfectly balanced, and they're just doing a great job. Stoudemire. Now here's a great story behind the wine. Tulip Winery, which actually has a policy that they only employ, and it's from the little hamlet called Tikva, which is the hamlet of hope. They only employ adults with special needs. And so I get the chills every time I talk about this wine or wines that come from this winery. Stoudemire himself was not Jewish. He was an NBA All-Star. He had some of the biggest contracts ever, and then slowly but surely discovered his own Judaism, and as a result, actually converted completely to Orthodox Judaism. He is now today assistant head coach of the Nets. He's making wine both in California and in Israel. And this is one of them. This is a really, and he says the reason I did it there is because not only do I want he loves wine, so that was the main reason, but not only do I want to get in touch with the wines that I love, and he spent 6 months going through various blends until he decided on this one, but he wants to do it in Israel and with a place that gives back to the community by utilizing people or adults with special needs. Bodegas Faustino, very famous winery. I think it's like 1,000 years old. It's from Spain. What I find like quite interesting about this winery is that, first of all, it's really a big statement about our wine crew in Europe, because Faustino is one of the largest well-known Spanish wines in the world, they really don't need more aggravation in making something new or different or special. But because of the relationship that Menachem Israelievich and our crew who makes kosher wine in Europe they've convinced this Bodegas Faustino to make wine. What's also exciting about it, it's about the same price as its non-kosher version. Very unusual. Yatir Forest. Now here's an amazing story. Yatir Forest comes from the forest in Yatir. And, you know, Ben Gurion once, when he first established, when he was the first president, prime minister, and he brought in some experts, and he said to them, let's go to the desert, let's see what we can grow in the desert. And the experts said, they spent 6 months and thousands of dollars, and he paid them and all that. And then they came back and they said, I don't think we can really grow anything in this desert. He said, you need to look at somewhere else to grow the, wines, etc. And you know what he said? He said, no, we don't need to find somewhere else to grow. We need to find new advisors. And so he decided that he was going to, and it's the only place in the world, Israel is, where every year there's more, they're taking desert and reclaiming it into green space. And part of that green space are vineyards, literally smack dab in the middle of the desert. Yatir Forest is a amazing blend of what we call classic Bordeaux varieties, Cabernet, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. It is considered one of the top 2, 3, maybe 4 wineries in quality of all of Israel. You're very lucky to be able to taste that this evening. It's and it sells out every year. We never can get enough, both in Israel and in outside of Israel, in Chutz La'aretz, especially in Canada. It's very rare and wonderful. Clone 6. Now, what is Clone 6? Why do they call it Clone 6? It's just basically Cabernet. Well, yeah, it is, but think about apples, right? So you have Golden Delicia, and you have, green apples, and you have red apples. Well, there are all kinds of varieties. Well, Clone 6 is a very special clone of Cabernet, and it's so, it gives such a kind of, I wouldn't say mint, but kind of fresh, even, delectable, soft, and complex flavor to the Cabernet. That Clone 6 is one of the most sought after Cabernets in all of California. Fortunately, the Herzogs have been able to have long-term contracts on this Clone 6 Cabernet. It's also a very rare and wonderful wine made by the Herzogs. And so I hope you enjoyed that as well. Alfazi Odom Mountain. Now, I believe it's the Odom Mountain Cabernet. It is just to give you again a perspective. There's something called terroir, and terroir is a term that was coined by the French. And to simply state it, just simply means, and I got this from the head of the French promotional people at the wine promotional people. Her name is Alice Louboutin, also happens to be an observant Orthodox woman. She doesn't work for them anymore, but she explained to me that terroir simply means the taste of the place, okay? So it includes the rain, the soil, the wind, the dryness, everything that goes into growing those grapes is what terroir means. And why that's important with Alfazi is because Alfazi, Odom Mountain Cabernet, comes from the most northern vineyard in all of Israel, in the absolute top of the Golan Heights. And you can see right across the border into Lebanon. And the reason why that's important is because that affects the terroir as well. That affects the taste of the place. And again, what's really wonderful about Alfazi in general is that this family has been first and foremost a wine growing family. It's only about 10 years that they're making wine on their own. This wine is also one of those rare and wonderful wines that, grab by both hands. And actually, even though it tastes good now, because Israel in general is a warm weather climate, so its wines are generally more sweet at harvest, and that means only the grape juice is sweet. but they ferment out all that juice, all that grape juice sweetness into dry wines, but it still will leave you with opulence that is just absolutely wonderful. So it's full and rich, but it still has many, many years of aging potential after that. And finally, Chateau Cantenac Brown. Now, Cantenac Brown, there is a leveling system of how you rate wines in France, and it's called the Cru system. There's Premier Cru, there's first Premier Cru, there's second Premier Cru, there's a third Premier Cru, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cantenac Brown is one of only a very small handful of first Premier Crus. They actually sell out every single bottle of their wine, even before it's released every single year. And I'm talking about the non-kosher. This is exactly like the non-kosher, but they've agreed to make kosher wine. And this is a very rare and wonderful wine. We don't get to make it every year at Cantenac Brown. Fortunately, your hosts have been able to get you some for this wonderful, wonderful event and wonderful cause. I know that as soon as it comes out, I buy a case or two and put it away. Even though, again, it tastes okay and really good, actually. Initially, a year or two later, it tastes much better. And 5 and 10 and even 20 years later, it'll blow your mind. So those are the list of the wines. I think it's a great variety of wines. And we're very lucky, including a rosé and an entry-level great wine from Israel, and just fun, happy wines from Moscatos, and really rich, wonderful wines from California, Israel, and finally from France's Bordeaux area in Chateau Cantenac Brown. So I've traveled all over the world, tasting wines at these wineries and offering them to places as far afield as Dubai to Beijing and every place in between, including Argentina and you name it. So these are wines that we can all be proud of, but most importantly, they're now being shared with you by the Jewish Youth Network, which is an amazing organization that does so many wonderful things. So we really thank you for supporting the Jewish Youth Network, and hope you'll continue to support them, enjoy their wines, and of course, drink a little bit more tonight so that you can loosen up your wallets too. This is Jay Bucksbaum reporting live to you for the Jewish Network from our headquarters here in Bayonne, New Jersey.
All right, Larry, here we are. We're celebrating the gala. We've got all our tickets. Here's the digital tickets from all the raffle tickets that we've sent out, 500 tickets. And as the tradition is always at the JYN Gala, this year we're still a hybrid virtual, as you can see. Zaydie, Larry's in the future JYN building. Larry, I'm gonna ask you to choose a number standing outside the building, celebrating our gala. Choose a number from 1 to 500, and that is going to be the winning ticket for the free trip for 2 to Israel. Now, just as a disclaimer, you haven't seen anybody's numbers of their tickets and what they bought, nothing. So whatever number you pick out of your head, that's going to be the winner. I'm going to go back and see who bought that number.
Go on.
Go ahead, Larry, pick the number for us.
324.
324. Okay, let's go all the way down here to 324, and let's pull up the number. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching the gala here tonight, please have a look at your tickets. And if you see this ticket number 324 in your package, in your charcuterie boards at home, please call the office, call JYN 905-889-7582 and talk to Judy, and we will tell you how to redeem 2 tickets that you have won tonight for 2 to go to Israel.
Is that right? That's what the prize is.
That's the prize. Larry, somebody's going to be very happy.
We loved it here. We had lots of fun with all you people, everyone. But now we call the time is nigh to raise our glasses to the sky, to hope for better things to be for everyone, including me. And so I end my little rhyme while bells within my mind do chime. and ring out on this day so fair our true, sincere, and humble prayer. May He be with us every day to help us live and work and play. Please bless our lives, O God above, with health and happiness and love.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Yeshua Yisecho